Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my most humble and loving salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Dear brothers and sisters, apologies for having a little break. For some reasons, we could not continue every week. So here we are back again by His grace, and we pray that we can continue with our beautiful Ramayana journey. So let us begin this evening with our prayer, and I request all of you to please join me in. O Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to Thee. O Lord, take my hands and let them work incessantly for Thee. O Lord, take my soul and let it be merged in one with Thee. O Lord, take my mind and thoughts and let them be in tune with Thee. O Lord, take my everything and let me be an instrument to work for Thee. Om Shri Sai Ram. Our journey of Ramayana has given us some wonderful insights and perspectives of life. Honestly speaking, it has been an uplifting and literally a transformative journey for us personally for us, because the more we dwell into it, the more we realize different layers and different dimensions of an avataric journey. For me personally, I would say it has helped me to even look at Bhagwan Baba from a different eyes. I'm able to appreciate that part more. And as Bhagwan says, only an avatar can tell avatar story. So only when you start listening from avatar, how he conducted, then you get a glimpse of how an avatar conducts and how we should be responsive towards that. So our story has reached a place where Ravan is almost out of all the valors, almost he has exhausted his valorous people of Rakshas Kula, I should say. And he's, especially after the death of his son, he's heartbroken, he's totally despondent. And in that, he goes again to the, I would say, refuge to the master, Lord Shiva himself. And this is where the new dimension, new story starts in. So let me bring in my brother, Ranganath Raju. Sairam Ranga,
Sairam, brother. Sairam.
Sairam. So today, Raju, we have obviously our story has reached a spot, when in desperation, Ravan goes to Shiva in his altar room, trying to
Yes.
pray, and that is where the whole drama unfolds now. And he's despondent, he's heartbroken, he has got actually, he's kind of, as Bhagwan also writes in a very beautiful way, he's deeply hurt. He's deeply hurt, and his, capacities, he's doubting it's everything. And in that stage, there appears AhiRavan. And that is how he mentions that AhiRavan is the king of Patal Loka. An interesting thing is that Patal Lok has been ruled by many great people, including Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad and King Bali. So they all belong to that. So there is a lineage of people who are not whom we call it Rakshasas, but I would say they were amazing people, and they have in fact given us some amazing uh, standards in terms of devotion also. If you look at King Bali and Prahlad, so that is where this movement, you have Ahiravan ruling that. So Ahiravan, all said and done, he was a Rakshasa, but all said and done, he was special. So I would like you to throw some basic, whatever you feel on Ahiravan, so then we'll continue forward.
Yes, brother. So, as you're mentioning about AhiRavan, I thought I should just bring this one small interesting uh, uh, tidbit, that is. uh, uh, that is kind of popularized through research on linguistics and the recent research. So if you take, say, there are two ancient, as we believe, religions. At least the most ancient is our Sanatana Dharma, and they also say that Zoroastrianism is also, in some sense, an ancient, an offshoot of Sanatan Dharma, and many of the researchers have come out now with very beautiful findings. So one of the findings is that our asura, the word asura, and they have a very similar word, and our word daiva, they have a very similar word. So asura, but just that the meanings are different. Asura for us, that is for the believers, the followers of Sanatan Dharma, at least as per our epics, they mean Rakshasas or demons. Uh, in 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 that language, as per the Zoroastrianism, that word means angels, and Daiva for us means gods, demigods. For Zoroastrian, that follower, it means demons. So it's a completely opposite meanings of the word. What we call Daiva means Asur for them, and what we call Asur means Daiva for them. In
You
what I'm,
know, let me pause here for you. In fact, we have discussed this before, but I'll remind. Bhagwan has described Asura in a different way.
yes,
When that churning of ocean happens, so when the poison, sorry, the what we call as wine, which is in Sanskrit called sura comes out.
hmm,
Rakshasas were so focused on getting Amrit, the nectar, they did not look at that. So they abandoned, they didn't accept it. So Devta said, okay, we'll have it. So Sura, the wine part of it, the so-called wine, actually has a different connotation, but as we understand, that was given to Devtas. And
yes,
since the Rakshasas declined Sura, they were called Asuras. So
yeah,
Asura in a way is a compliment. I would say that one
yes,
who has control, who is so focused that he does not want even the distractions, when he's focused only on Amrita, they become Asuras. So
Asuras, yeah.
Rakshasa is a different caliber and Asura is a different caliber. So
Hmm.
I'm not surprised if Zoroastrian has that positivity in
Yes,
Asura's
in
word.
fact, just to draw similarity, Kshatriya means the one who protects.
Hmm.
Rakshasa means Rakshaiti, the one who protects. It's a very similar meaning. Both mean Rakshasa is equal to Kshatriya in some sense. Probably, and the recent research, what they are also what they're digging out from the recent research is that when we refer to the Patala, probably it is being referred to as South American region, because there are many signs, very clear signs as to uh, what the description that is mentioned in the ancient texts and the current geographical distribution, most of it matches. And
Yeah, the Mexican and the South American part
yeah,
is the Patal Loka that mentioned about it.
and
Yes.
The
From yeah,
Bali
Bal Chakravarti.
Chakravarti, yes, that is a Bali region, the Indonesian Bali. So our hero Ahiravan is sitting somewhere there. I mean, so let's say from the story point of view, he is in the Patal Lok ruling Patala, and the uh, very interesting part is that Swami writes, and it is Swami who is writing, because we have to be very very cautious of who the author is. So the book is as one of the very famous poets says, the book is nothing but the reflection of the author's mind. So here it is God Himself writing it. It is Swami writing it. So why is it that Swami chooses to mention that line? That where he says, when this happened on the earth, Ahiravana living in the nether regions became aware that Ravana was suffering a great burden of sorrow. He thought within himself, how could this be? He has all the world under his control and within his grasp. No one can defeat him. Immediately, so he Ahiravana worshipped no other god but the goddess Kamada. Immediately he meditated on her and she revealed Ravana's whereabouts to him, so he could appear before Ravana right in the Shiva temple. He fell at Ravana's feet announcing his name while doing so. What a what a beautiful introduction of Airavana's character. Swami is uh, such a methodical writer. I mean, if we can categorize him as one, he writes it so beautifully. Here he is talking about why should Swami mention that Ahiravana is uh, Swami he is aware. He's become actually he's not informed. Swami writes he became aware that Ravana was suffering. I mean, look at the way in which Swami is introducing that character into the entire story. That Ahiravan is being already elevated with some powers which are very special to him. And then Swami talks about, then Ahiravan thought, how could this be that he has all the world under him, under his control, within his grasp, no one could defeat him. So he already knows about Ravana's prowess and also Ravana's influence and also Ravana's troubles. Then Swami also says he Hiravana worshipped no other god but the goddess Kamada. Yes, Swami says all of us know that sweets are many, but the sweet is one and the taste is one. So probably Kamada is one more form of whatever Kali or whatever, but it is the divine force. So he has that one pointed attention, that one pointed devotion. So it is God Himself acknowledging that no other God. Immediately he meditated on. So he has this habit of meditating also, and it is who is a rishi. Rishi is the one who sees truth, that drashta means who to. So how did Vedas emerge? They saw truth, and those were spelt out, expressed as words. So in the same way, Ahiravan is such a is such a great character uh, that he meditated on her and things are revealed to him. You can imagine the depth of his devotion and the strength of his concentration. And then immediately Swami takes on the next line saying, so he could appear before Ravana right in Shiva temple. And the place where Ahiravana comes is right in Shiva's temple, in front of Shivalinga. It's as good as Shiva's own messenger. I mean, in a very symbolically too. If you look from Ravana's point of view, if we just turn the tables around to Ravana's character, now here is Ravana meditating to Shiva, and suddenly out of the blue, in front of that lingam or in that temple comes this person or his son whom Ravana has not been informed, and he falls at his feet. It's literally God, or from Ravana's point of view, is a messenger sent by Shiva himself. So it's a very beautiful way that Swami chose to introduce this character called Airavana. And because I'm sure Swami is such a fantastic writer that he's building up. I'm sure as we go along we'll discuss as to how special is this Airavana character is, that he's building up this character.
But there, unfortunately, our normal scriptures available to the common people, we do not have access to all the, related good stories. We only focus on the war part of the story, but not the aura part of the story, of the devotional part. So we miss out. And it's very interesting, as you mentioned, I'm recalling that Ahiravan's name is also mentioned in Hanuman Aarti. So imagine Hanumanji's Aarti is written in such a way, it's a precise one, right? only a
Yes.
prominent people will be mentioned. So he has killed so many people. Hanumanji has destroyed and given liberation to many. But AhiRavan's name is AhiRavan ki bhuja ukhade, दाई बुझा असुर संहारे बाई बुझा संतन हितकारे. So it's a very interesting thing that Ahiravan even gets a place in Hanuman Arti. So he was not an ordinary being that way. And then we see that in his intuitive way, he gets feeling that Ravan needs him. So either it is his call, his end, or whatever. That is interesting. And we all should keep in mind that we cannot brand anybody as Rakshasa and think that they are only bad people or they are negative. In fact, as you said, I didn't realize this translation of Rakshasa could be the one who protects, but maybe without discrimination. It's like a fanatical protection. I don't know
Yeah.
how it can be interpreted, but the fact is that they were not ordinary being, to be
Yes.
underestimated, right?
Absolutely.
And then you have the situation when Ahiravan listens to the story. He says he falls, as you rightly read it. He falls at his feet and says, "I feel you need me. That's why I'm here. How can I help?" And then Ravan starts to actually tell him the whole story, and that is where the whole thing gets interesting. After listening to Ravan, Ahiravan actually advises Ravan otherwise. He tells him that he should not do that, and he advises him. But obviously, as Ravan was in the frame of mind, he was not frame of mind to listen to anybody. And then he says to Ahiravan that you are here to help me or to preach me. If you are here to preaching mode, then leave. I'm only interested in help. If you are ready to help me, then. So Ahiravan said, obviously, I'm here to help you, but I feel it's my duty to inform you what I feel is right. And that
Yes.
is where he starts off and he says, okay, I'll take care of it. And then Raju, take that journey now. He goes
Yes,
to
sir.
check how does he proceed further. He says, I'll take the ram and go into Patal Loka and offer it to my mother, which is, the ceremonial sacrifice. And with that intent, he comes. And
Yes.
there, another interesting aspect has been captured here is that Hanuman has created a fortress
With his tail.
by his tail. And that is another concept which is hard to digest for normal mind. What does it mean? And he was sitting himself at the entrance of that. Not even a breath of hair or air could enter that fortress. So I don't know whether we call it technology or we call it his caliber, his advancement of knowledge. But he was Pavan Putra, so he knew the elements very well. He was controlling the elements. So Hanumanji was not an ordinary being, but imagine a technology or a strength to create a fortress in such a manner that even hair or air cannot pass through that. And he sits in the front. And inside that, people are safe. So he has made that. And then the story unfolds. Let me finish the story and then you can come back. And the story goes
Sure.
like that Ahiravan is waiting for the right opportunity to, penetrate that castle. And that is the time when Vibhishan leaves the fortress for bath. So it could be said that it must be like a early morning, like around 2:30 or 3 o'clock, because that's how they wake up. So 3 o'clock around, he must have gone for bath. And as soon as Vibhishan leaves, Ahiravan takes the form of Vibhishan and presents himself in front of Hanuman. And Hanuman casually asks, hey, you just left for bath. Did you finish so fast? He said, "No, I forgot something. I have some work. I'll go back and then come." And Hanuman, obviously, why would he doubt Vibhishan? He lets him in. But let me pause the story here, Raju, because it's an interesting thing. As they say in Ramayana, that no one in Lanka had the power or the caliber to take the form of Vibhishan.
Yes.
The Rakshasas were all caliber, they had a lot of powers, so they could take any form they wanted. Even Ravan, we know that we discussed it. Ravan was asked that why don't you take the form of Ram? Marich told him that Ravan, you asked me to do all of that. Why don't you? So Ravan said, do you think I didn't try that? So I tried to take the form of Ram, but each time I would take his form, I would get such a pure and noble feelings and thoughts. My character would be different, and I was not able to think negative. The power of a form was such, from there I get an idea that it is not easy to take anybody's form. So if you are able to take form of somebody, that means you have the caliber to imitate that personality completely. So imagine Ravan could not take Ram's form because he was transformed immediately, and nobody in Lanka, they say, could take Vibhishan's form. And now we have seen Vibhishan was a saintly, sattvic person. So his caliber was such that only AhiRavan was having the caliber to take his form. That itself shows that AhiRavan was not ordinary. He was also very pure soul. Interesting, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
what is your thought on that?
Yes, brother. Completely agree. This is what Swami had referred in one of the dramas, and we had used it in one of the dramas also. So, in fact, it goes on that this is the turning point of Vibhishana's reliability. Let's say about their opinion, there and in the sense the Sugriva and his army's opinion about Vibhishana.
Oh,
So till
really?
then, because the history is that there's this spy Sukha who was already in the camp of Rama, who was spying, and then with Rama's love he gets transformed. But before that, Vibhishana kind of spots him and sends him away. So that enrages, that kind of puts everyone on alert. So as you said, Hanuman made that massive fort, but despite all that, they were still not very comfortable believing Vibhishana. It is only now when Vibhishana, uh, when they later learn, as you said, so when Vibhishana goes out, and again another the pseudo Vibhishana, Airavan takes his form and comes back, and then the the Rama and Lakshmana in the camp disappear, and when the true Vibhishana comes, that is when they realize that there is something wrong, and Hanuman goes and checks, there is no one, and then Vibhishana reveals, after listening to and test, that it is only Airavana who is capable of taking my form. That is when it kind of becomes crystal clear to everyone that had Vibhishana not been around, had Vibhishana not been there, it would have been almost impossible for anyone to find out who actually kidnapped Rama. Because Ahiravana was living somewhere else. At least our man Ravana was living in Lanka. Ahiravana was Patala. So it's far South America, as we say. Now it would have been another search for Sita. It would have been another search for Rama. And that's when it's obviously for Rama. Yes, the Lord knew everything, but from a very human standpoint of view, they realize the wisdom of that decision. And when Vibhishana reveals that only he is capable of taking my form, it becomes clear. And it is Vibhishana who gives them the direction also as to where this Airavana might be hiding. And also before that, the lesson also goes, just to highlight Airavana's character, is that why we are highlighting so, because he was given a very rare and special privilege. So Ahiravana, it seems, also sends some two, three other characters. Swami does not mention because Swami's focus only Rasa, Ramakatha Rasa, as Rama's interaction with his devotees. But there are some very minor characters. So someone who had a very sharp and iron beak, he comes and he tries to poke, and the minute he touches that uh, wall uh, of tail, the entire beak breaks away, And there is one more with iron claw. I think he comes and tries, another Rakshasa, he comes and tries to claw, but his claws also break away the minute they just lay their hands on the wall of tail. Now it is only Ahiravana who is now capable of assuming a form and then entering inside. Why are we stressing so much on his character? Is that he is the only one, as Swami writes, apart from others, apart from two or three people, he carries Rama and Lakshmana. Rama and Lakshmana has given, I mean, Rama has given him the privilege of carrying the physical body of Ramachandra to Patal Loka, which is not an ordinary blessing.
Just let me add here. You said there are some small characters who tried to peek and break the wall of his tail. They could not. Uh, it's very interesting to note that the name given to Hanumanji as Bajrangbali has
Yeah,
come from there. So it seems that's how explanation comes that uh, people try to touch, break or whatever to harm to Hanuman, and each part of Hanuman was like a Vajra. The Indra Vajra, it's like Vajra, it is iron made. So he was called Vajravali, Vajranga. Anga in Sanskrit means part, body part is Anga. Vajra is steel like form, like very strong. So he was labeled as Vajranga, and that I think the word got twisted later on and became Bajranga. So now we call him Bajrang Bali. Bali is the powerful one. So Vajranga, that's how some interpretations come that Vajrang Bali is actually a deformative of Vajrang, Vajrang Bali. So
beautiful.
that is another beautiful concept of Hanuman. So interesting. And they say that he, before he goes, when he enters the fortress, he shoots an arrow, it seems, of powerful mantra, and that is actually a Mohan mantra, they say. He uses Mohan mantra, which puts everybody into sleep. So Nal, Neel, everybody is around Ram and Lakshman, but everybody is put to sleep. They get whatever, and that is where he takes them, and because he has gotten whatever powers, he takes them to the Patal Lok. So that is one indicator that he goes inside, and when Vibhishan comes in, when he listens to the whole story, and as you rightly said, he realizes that the only person who can take my form is him. So he announces it is him, and then he introduces people to who Ahiravan is. So Ahiravan is like a character which is glorified from that sense, but unfortunately, we don't have much to talk about it more than these tidbits from there. But he takes them, both of them, and now you have also touched upon a point that like Hanuman has carried Ram and Lakshman. I believe Angad had a chance to carry them once,
Yes.
but other than that, there is no other documented story to know who carried them. But to carry Bhagwan is not easy. So it's again a great blessing. So Ahiravan took them to Pataloka, carrying them, and that is another facet of Ahiravan, that how evolved he must be to do that. But again, the same point comes that when that evolution has gone in the wrong direction, you turn into Rakshasas categories. So, and that is where when Hanuman listens to this part and he says, I'll go and get him back. And obviously, Hanuman jumps into the same pit to go and get them. There, now we are faced with another beautiful character, and we say that character is Makar Dhwaja. So, so Raju, you want to talk about Makar Dhwaja? Because it's interesting again.
Yes, brother. And brother, just to,
All the
sorry,
characters
just
are
to,
really shaking everybody. Huh?
I'm sorry, just one line. I want to just bring attention to one line. So,
Yeah, please.
I was only reading out, this is a very interesting, important line that Swami mentions, that the pseudo Vibhishana who was approaching him, that is Rama, was not unnoticed by Rama. He had incarnated, adopting in sport the human frame, and his purpose in so doing was to destroy the entire species, the demon species. His task would remain unfinished if Ravana's descendants survived in nether regions. So he played the role as if he did not know the trick in which AhiRavana was to indulge. Others cannot understand his ways. He knows where, when, and by which means one has to be exterminated. He plays his drama in his own way. And that's why, I mean, Swami gives a beautiful reason, as you mentioned, the Samohan Astra, when it was released, Rama acts as if he fainted. And Swami gives a very beautiful reason as to why he is doing it. And then, as you said, the story continued. And Makaradvaja uh, is a very interesting character. Hanuman enters the Patal Loka, but is accosted here right at the gate with a ferocious hero who stops him, who is also very similar looking Vanara. So Hanuman is little bewildered, and then Hanuman asks him to move aside. He does not move. Then later, Hanuman first has a fight, has a very strong fight, and he realizes that this person, first of all, he is in this Patal Loka. He is a Vanara who also, whose appearance is also quite similar, and uh, through Hanuman's uh, prowess and also his intuition, he realizes that his Makaradvaja is none other than his own son. And the character also shines, the character of Makaradvaja also shines forth in Swami's writing. And Swami says, after the initial bout of fight, Hanuman realizes that this fellow is strong enough that he is to face Hanuman. And Hanuman asks him about his descendants, and then he realizes his own son. And Hanuman tells him, now that this is established, please move aside. Makaradvaja says, no, as much as you are devoted to your Lord Rama, I am devoted to my Lord AhiRavan. I will fight. You also fight. Let's see who wins, and only then I am bound to my duty as much as you are bound to your duty. Such a beautiful way Swami portrays the character of Makaradvaja. And as Swami,
I want to share that, because there are versions of his birth.
yes,
Uh, some people, some where it is written that Hanuman's sweat when he burns the Lanka and he dives to, cool his tail, and that time his sweat falls in, and that sweat element is taken by a kind of a mermaid, which has got some people say it's a mermaid of fish, a combination of fish and animals. Some say it's crocodile and crocodile and mermaid. So we don't know. It's again the version of that, and in her womb, this sweat turns into a child. And then the story somewhere it is written that they catch the fish, and when they cut it open, the child is on. In another one, it is like he is born as the mother is that, and Hanuman is the father. But all said and done, Makardhwaja is a character which has a kind of a Vanara body, but has a feature of the water animal, and he's as strong, equally very powerful and effulgent. But obviously, Hanuman is of a different league altogether. So when, as you mentioned, that when they fight, Hanuman realizes and he appreciates that his son has all the right, attributes and characteristics that he would have loved to have, which is very good. But time was not permitting, and the intent, he said, unfortunately, his life, what is your honesty, his surrender is in the wrong direction. So, how Bhagwan presents it, that while fighting, he kicks or he hits Makardhwaja so hard that Makardhwaja flies off to far off region. And then Hanuman enters. And then the story goes that as he enters looking for Ram and Lakshman, and he hears the gossip of people that there's a great sacrifice going to happen in the temple, and he finds that there are some ladies who are carrying garlands and flowers for worship and for the puja. So he makes himself anima very small and sits on that plate with the flowers and enters the sacrificial prayer hall. And when he enters, he sees that the priest is already performing the last ceremonial rites, and Ram and Lakshman are lying down there. And that is where he realizes now, okay, so they are reaching a point when the sacrifice would start. And another interesting point I find is that, as you said before, also Ram had noticed AhiRavan's entry. Here also
Yeah.
Bhagavan mentions that AhiRavan, Ram notices or feels the presence of Hanuman. And he looks at Lakshman, Lakshman looks at Ram, they both acknowledge and they smile. But the point is, they are no longer fainted at that moment. They are awake. So, but they are quietly lying down there. And when the fruits and all offerings come to the mother, Hanuman in this small form goes and starts eating those fruits, all the offerings. And the Rakshasas, it seems, is a very beautiful narration. Imagine now you have offered your fruits to the Lord, your mother, whom you are about to sacrifice, offer sacrifices, and then the fruits which you're offering starts disappearing. So it's natural for them to feel that, oh my God, our mother has accepted our offering. You know, so there is a very strong feeling, the sense of that now the time has come when mother is very happy with our efforts and the sacrifice will happen very well. So they are rejoicing that now everything is going perfectly fine. And it's that time when Ram and Lakshman starts to laugh, they little giggle, and that puts Ahiravan into a fix. But then he convinces himself, saying that probably because they know now that it's end of their life, so they must be getting that kind of an emotion. So he says, okay, it's okay to smile now since it's the last few moments of yours. And the priest who's finishing his rites, he addresses Ahiravan. Look at the story, how he builds it. You can visualize the movie actually in front of you. And the priest gets up and says, Ahiravan, you are the great king. You have ruled the kingdom with all the righteousness. According to Dharma Shastra, he's quoting Dharma and he says that before the sacrifice, you must give a chance to these people to express their last wish. Because anyway, they're going to die. So if they have any last wish, then your sacrifice will become complete. So you give them a chance. So Ahiravan feels okay, very good. And he says to Ram and Lakshman that, oh brothers, now since your end has arrived and mother is already ready to accept you as my sacrifice. So do you have any last wish? And now Hanuman starts laughing. So when Ram and Lakshman are laughing and Hanuman starts laughing and they wonder who is that? And Hanuman immediately appears in his form and he picks up the what he calls the sword of which was part of the idol of the mother. He grabs that sword and he chops Ahiravan into pieces. And that is the beauty. He kills all the people who are around there and he chops Ahiravan also. But Bhagwan mentions it in it's a very beautiful description. Bhagwan says that Ahiravan's body starts to come together because of his penance and the great achievement that he has done. He was given extraordinary boons. So whatever you do, his body would keep coming back. So if you cut his hand, hand will rejoin. If you cut his head, the head would rejoin. So that is how this was going on. So that is where the whole drama, you can see how it's unfolding, when Bhagwan writes it like that. And then what Hanuman does, is that he immediately holds AhiRavan by his hair and chops off his head and throws the head into the burning fire of Havan Kund. Before it could go back and join itself, he throws it into the fire ground. And that is how AhiRavan is killed. Now, this is as per Bhagwan. So Bhagwan has only mentioned that AhiRavan had extraordinary, you know, powers, and he has earned it through penance, and that is why he could not be killed. But then there is another story which, Raju, I would like you to talk about, that bees and all that.
Yes, brother. So the just mentioning it here because it is being kind of considered as a popular version, but we believe Swami's version is the version. Just that since queries were asked, so another story goes as that Ahiravan had his 5 lives hidden in 5 bees, these bumblebees or honey, the bumblebees. So the challenge is that all the 5 bees should be killed at once. So uh, that the bees were hidden in the stomach of that idol, and uh, as as Ahiravan is being fought, Hanuman realizes the futility of trying to kill him in his ordinary ways. So and then he meditates on Rama, and he realizes he gets that insight that this is the only way that he can be killed. So the stomach is broke open and the 5 bees fly away. Now to kill them simultaneously, Hanuman assumes the massive Panchamukha Hanuman. That's where this Panchamukha Hanuman form comes in. Panchamukha Hanuman, he assumes those 5 faces and crushes those 5 bees simultaneously at one point of time. And that's how Airavan dies. So this is a story that is popularly believed, but Swami writes it here very clearly. Now I just want to add one point, brother, that it's a beautiful uh, narration that Swami has built, and Swami writes it so nicely. He says this point that at last Hanuman fixed Rama in his mind, and with a shout of victory to Rama, he caught the head and, as you say, and he caught the head, sliced the neck. Before they could join, he threw it in the blazing fire. But the point is, Swami is emphasizing at every juncture the importance of Rama. So there, Ahiravan, Ahiravan, Ahiravan's city was guarded by Makaradwaja, Hanuman's own son. Both of them were loyal to a master. Both of them were doing a duty. But yet, both of them had same genealogy, if we take. And yet, one became so powerful that with a mere twist of his tail, he could throw other fellow so far that he took so much time till the drama ended. He could not even come. He's actually now even as we are narration, all this going on is still running and coming. Imagine how far he was thrown. The only difference is because one person is working for Rama, other person is working. The master is different. That made all the difference. And even here, Hanuman crossed all those obstacles. Hanuman hid himself in the garland. Hanuman fooled all those Rakshasas. Hanuman, kind of took the sword, chopped Airavan, and yet Airavan does not die. It is only when the element called Rama comes in, that is when Airavan dies. It is only when that salt enters the cooking, it becomes tasty. In the same way, without the essence of Rama, no act is actually complete in Swami's writing. And that is what I think the Ramakatha Rasavahini. Swami is so potently telling us that without Rama, whatever be your effort, I mean, Rama is in sense God. Whatever be your effort, how much ever, at one point it might be with Makaradwaja, at another point it might be with Ahiravana. But without Rama, no effort would succeed.
It's a very important point. There is another version which highlights the point that uh, because these Rakshasas, especially caliber of AhiRavan, also controlled pranavayus. See, that's why Ravan could keep his life into his navel, as they say, Amrit Kalash was there, and Ahiravan also kept it in the bees. So these are all symbolic way of saying that they control the nature so much that they could will it where they can hide their life energy and force. And this is where there's another new concept, or say concept of Hanuman to control the five pranas, panchapranas, and destroy the five B's symbolically. He is supposed to have taken the form of, that Panchmukhi Hanuman. And that becomes another interesting facet to understand. So Panchmukhi Hanuman, as I have understood, I know, correct me if my interpretation is wrong, is that when Hanuman as a being achieves the highest elemental control, he becomes worshipable. So he becomes the Panchmukhi because there all the elements are controlled and governed by him. So for killing a personage of like caliber of Ahiravan, one has to have that. So if Ahiravan could control the five elements and put it together in different bees and symbolically, then Hanumanji was the master of five senses in the five elements. So he comes Panchamukhi. I am just reminded of the Panchamukhi Prarthana, the prayer we say, Om Namo Hanumantaya, Rudra Avataraya, Panchavadraya, Om Namo Hanumantaya, Rudra Avataraya, Panchavadanaya, Purmukhe Maharudraya, Sakala Shatru Samharanaya, Sri Ramadutaya Swaha. Om Namo Hanumantaya, Rudra Avataraya, Panchavadanaya, Dakshinmukhe Karilavadhanaya, Narsingharaya, Sakala Bhuta Preta Nidhanaya, Sri Ramadutaya Swaha. ओम नमो हनुमंताय रुद्रावताराय पंचवदनाय भस्मुखे श्री गरुड़ाय सर्व विघ्न निवारणाय श्री रामदूताय स्वाहा ओम नमो हनुमंताय रुद्रावताराय पंचवदनाय उत्तरमुखे आदि भराय वराहाय सकल संपत्ति प्रदाय श्री रामदूताय स्वाहा ओम नमो हनुमंताय रुद्रावताराय पंचवदनाय ऊर्ध्वमुखे हयग्रीवाय सकल जनवशीकरणाय श्री रामदूताय स्वाहा. So that was a Panchmukhi Hanuman's prayer. So here you can
Beautiful.
see last one is Haigriva, that's horse. Then you have the Narsingha, this is Rudra, this is Garuda, and that is Adi Varaha. So these five forms constitute in one becomes Hanuman. So that is the caliber you require to kill a person like AhiRavan. So I don't know. It is so interesting to see that everybody in the negative also you have to be so high to attract positive of God, because God won't come for a small negative. So it has to be equal negative. So that is the beauty of this whole. More and more you dwell into it, you start seeing different flavors of how things are happening and how to interpret. What do you think, Raju?
Yes, brother. Completely agree. Completely agree. I mean,
And you mentioned another beautiful thing about invoking Ram. I don't know
yes.
what else can we look at it? Because it's a very beautiful thing. Hanuman, who has been worshipped as Panchmukhi, who had control over this all the
That's
elements,
what I'm coming to. Yes.
needs para
Yeah.
to move forward, to destroy. So he was that special being that even a caliber of Hanuman had to connect with the Parashakti to do the job. Okay, let me
Yes.
bring in another flavor to the story. As we always have noticed in our Bhagwan's life also, that whatever he does, he may announce an event. Bhagwan would announce an event and say, I'm doing it event for XYZ. But there are hundreds others who will get blessed and benefited by that process. So then it becomes very difficult to identify that Swami, for
Mm.
whom did you do that? So it is for somebody, it's an excuse that I'm doing the event for this person or this event, but then the beneficiary are millions. and we always look for that kind of a twist, that twist in the tale of what is that. Now here, Raju, it's an interesting thing, and let me share it. And it's we found that there was a sister of Ahiravan called Durdandi, and her son Neelamegha. It seems it is based on I think it was based on Parasar Samhita. Our
Parashara Samhita.
brother, yeah, our brother had Jagdish had brought it out. Unfortunately, couldn't be here. So, according to Parasar Samhita, they mention this story that Durdandi and Neelamegha, sister of Ahiravan and her son, both were kind of captured by Ahiravan, and he was not treating them well, and they were in a captivity situation. And these two have been intensely praying to God that God save us. And when this event happens, when Hanuman kills him, they are liberated. So I'm bound to, we're bound to feel about it that look, the event was killing Vahiravan and killing the and Rakshasas and destroying his army and all that. But it is also part of liberating many. So we just got one story from Parasar Samhita. I'm sure there must be another many stories on the way which Ram has done, and nobody even acknowledges that part. Nobody thinks about it that when Avatar moves, he's not moving to kill, he's actually moving to liberate. And in the process, he liberates everybody. So, the person who dies negatively or whatever, it all happens together. What do you think, Raju?
Absolutely, brother. Exactly. And even I think even Parashara Samhita, uh, as it mentions the story, we also have to kind of ruminate that we just spoke about the caliber of this person called Ahiravana. And you mentioned as to how Hanuman himself had to scale up to his form 5 times and kind of kill that monster with those 5 faces. But now just take that character and now take these two characters, the sister Durdandi and his Nina Bega, despite having all those achievements, I mean, despite having all such greatness, yet he is not able
Good
to
point.
overcome the hatred to his sister and his nephew. I mean, you might be just quite very similar to Ravana. Ravana had hatred to someone else. Now this fellow had hatred to his sister and her son. But the hatred is kind of common. It's a very I think very poignant way of telling humanity that it is not about running behind those prowess. They will kind of give you some kind of mileage probably to an extent, but beyond a point you will get destroyed if your chitta is not clean, the chitta shuddhi. If your chitta shuddhi is not there, then none of these matter. This is what I mean. Swami keeps telling us so many times.
But I think you have raised a very valid and relevant point that everybody must be aware that all of these achievements, you can be master of elements, you know, it's
Yes,
still it still not make you any better if you do not have that Atmachintan, and if you're not control your negativity of life. So imagine how can a Hiravan calibered person torture or trouble his own sister
yes.
and her son? It's like Kansa.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly. Yeah,
Kansura,
right.
right?
Yes. And
So
brother, on the other
obviously you
hand,
need
sorry, go on.
no carry on.
No, I was only saying, on the other hand, see, one hand is this Airavan who has achieved so much through his penance and through whatnot, through his struggle. On the other hand, is this, if you take from the birth point of view, from the genealogy, is a mere Vanara, who is mere Vanara who has actually crooked mouth. Hanuman is one who has a crooked mouth. He grows up to such a stature that he can assume 5 forms, he can assume 5 faces and control 5 breaths and kill a monster like Airavana effortlessly. What a lesson Ramachandra is actually teaching us. I don't need to kill you. If I want, I can just crush you. But a mere monkey with my name is capable of doing this job. And that is what Hanuman, apart from all those things, Hanuman has not done the penance like what AhiRavana would have done. Hanuman has not done a penance like Ravana, where he pulled out his intestines and played a veena to Shiva. But yet, Hanuman today is revered as God in every earth and street, while AhiRavan is disguised as a monster even in our discussions.
Raju, you just mentioned something, and I'm forced to share that thought. Yes, Hanumanji, as per the documents go, as per the scriptural writing goes, he hasn't been mentioned anywhere that he has committed some kind of an great penance. But the same Hanumanji, for 30, I would say 37 years of his life,
Hmm.
till he met Bhagwan
Yeah.
Ram directly, he only had a thought and a conviction that Lord is coming.
Lord, yeah,
He
correct.
will be Lord, right? So imagine a person, what a focus. We talk about Shabrima, she also was a similar caliber, right? If you look at the caliber of a person, so Hanuman
Beautiful.
for 37 years of his life, all the youth years of his life, he was only focused in waiting for the Lord. Can we say anything less of his caliber from that angle?
Beautiful.
So is that not considered as penance? Is that cannot be considered as something just because he didn't stand on one leg or tortured
Exactly.
his body,
Yes.
but he has shown us a positive way of penance.
Beautiful. Yes, brother. True.
Rakshasa's way of penance was torturing themselves, killing themselves, cutting their head off, and pleasing the Lord. The other, and mind you, with that penance, Rakshasa had to do 1,000 years of penance. So if you read also, it says 1,000 years Ravana stood in one leg. Okay, Hiranyakashipu was standing for thousands of years, they write. But Hanumanji stayed only for 37 years, but that 37 years he lived like a normal person with complete focus and attention on Ram. And he didn't know when will he come.
When will he
It is
come?
not that he knew that, okay, after this period, nothing. He doesn't even know what he will look like also. He just knew Ram. Who was he? Where will he come from? Nothing. 37 years, equivalent to 1,000 years of penance.
Beautiful.
Right? I'm
Beautiful.
just getting this thought right now with you when you said, so Hanuman's penance cannot be underscored
Yes.
in from that
Is
angle. And when
yes.
Bhagwan Baba insisted on us that, you don't have to go to Himalayas to do it. Your whole spirituality is live your life the way you are, but focus on God. I feel
Waiting
right
itself
now we
is
got an answer as to how Hanumanji has shown that how can you conduct in your day-to-day life. Because if you look, he went to study also. In fact, he went to Suriloka and studied. Then he became friends with Vibhishana, sorry,
that's very
Sugriva, and because of Surya God, and he says, "Take care of my son." And he became so he has performed the regular physical duties and sacrificed his own kingdom also.
yes.
He gave up his kingship. Otherwise, Hanuman could have been a king of his own Kishkinda and lived properly, right? So he sacrificed, he lived with one focus of God.
Yes.
So I would say that makes the difference. That is actually the beauty of the penance of Hanuman, the one pointed focus of Hanumanji. So I think there's
When
a
you wait
lot to
for
learn
God.
from this character, right?
Beautiful.
I'm just
Beautiful.
getting this part.
No. That's what they say. No, when you wait for God, no minute is ever wasted.
Yeah. Yes. So it all adds up. But imagine the patience and perseverance and purity of Hanuman. Like Bhagavan says, no, three P's of life: patience, perseverance, and purity of Hanumanji to continue, and that too at that age when everything is different for human beings.
Correct.
The teenage, the youth, and there he sacrificed himself completely focused on Ram. So that is another caliber of a person. Okay, let's take the story forward. Another interesting aspect. So now, when Ravan gets the news, and obviously, sorry, when immediately after killing AhiRavan, and people have this some notion, some story that AhiRavan and Mahiravan are two people, but as far as our finding is there, even Bhagwan has mentioned one person, even Ramayan mentions it one person. So I don't know where people get the two people. So AhiRavan, Mahiravan is same one person. So when AhiRavan is killed, at that is the point, Raju, when Makar Dhwaja enters the shrine.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how far he must be thrown. That poor fellow, by the time he came, everything was over here. So as soon as he enters, Hanuman picks up the crown of Mahiravan and puts it on him and introduces him to Ram and introduces him as his own son. And he tells him a story, and Bhagwan Ram, of course, blesses him. And he says, now rule this kingdom as per the dictums of Sri Ram. And I want to remind our viewers that that is how the Ramarajya grew. So it was not a physical possession of a kingdom or a geographical space that Ram had to sit. The moment his ideology, his thought was practiced, it became Ramarajya. So Makar Dhwaja was crowned as a king of Patal, and Hanuman makes Ram and Lakshman sit on him, and he jumps. And Bhagwan says, in one jump, Hanuman reaches the earth, the ground level. So you can imagine, like, so we are talking about Hanuman, we are not talking about ordinary person. So all that traveling happens, and he's back, and obviously there is a rejoice. But in this rejoice, Raju, there is another beautiful element, and everybody is, praising Ram and Hanuman, and everything is happening. It is a Vibhishan who comes to Prabhu, Ram, and he makes a very beautiful statement, and that is interesting. I think, why don't you read that part?
Yes,
So
brother.
that highlights a very different aspect to understand. Only people who know it from the behind the screen would say that.
Vibhishana stood before Rama and said, Lord, what shall I say of your divine place? Only you can reveal to us the meaning of your acts and activities. You have come with the resolution to wipe off the demon denizens even in the nether regions. All this stage acting is, I know, to fulfill that resolution.
Because see,
Once
only Vishan only was a person who knew the real caliber of AhiRavan,
AhiRavan.
who knew what a difficult task it is, and nobody could do that except Bhagwan Ram.
Yes.
So when even if the Hanuman has been given the credit of just killing him or destroying him, only Vibhishan understands the complexity and the caliber required to touch AhiRavan. So that's why when everybody is jubilant and enjoying, he makes this statement that, Lord, it's very difficult to fathom what you do and what your intents are, right?
Absolutely. I think this is like Swami's way of writing is so beautiful that Swami places that the paragraph before it saying all the monkeys are kind of holding Hanuman as the hero, and then Vibhishana comes and praises Rama. I mean, it is also so very relevant to our day-to-day achievements when you hear elders, when you hear sages say that it's only the Lord who is doing, and yet you look at people of achievement and say, "Wow, they are great." I mean, you the limited mind we are right now in that vanara limited mind who is not aware of what Ahiravan is, what the pitfalls of the Patalok is. They give credit to Hanuman, who despite trying so many times, Ahiravan did not try. Only when it took Rama's name did Ahiravan uh, die. On the other hand, the wise ones who know the depths of the problem, only they know that the real doer is Ramachandra himself or the God himself. So that's where
Raju,
the
I'm
sages.
reminded of a story. I want to share that. I'm sure it'll trigger your thoughts. When we played band for the first time as an official band of Institute, I think it was 1984, 85. So it's a long time back. And Bhagwan selected all of us. And the funny part of the whole band was that none of us knew music. None of us had any clue about music, ABC of that music. Forget reading music and all that. We had no clue how the hell happens, what happens. But we were all selected. And the story is long because we had so much of, downfalls and we made a mess out of everything. And during the play, first time we played was procession of convocation in the Hillview Stadium. And Bhagwan, as his style is, he changed the program at the last second, not minute also, it was the last second. The mic was going for national anthem to be sung by the music boys. And from the stage, Bhagwan said, not music boys, let it be played by the band. So the
Oh,
mic was placed in front of us. So you can imagine the tragedy because we thought we had to just accompany the singers and the sound will be only of singers and we had to accompany. Now the band has to lead the national anthem and the mic is in front of us. And while playing that 52 seconds, we made a lot of mistakes. And at one point of time, all the three trumpets who were leading, and it's a funny, very funny story actually, all the three trumpets were out of breath. And we looked
oh,
at each other in the middle of the song. So for sure we knew that we have messed it up. Now in 52 seconds, even if a couple of seconds are gone, obviously it's a glaring mistake. And then that too mic is in front of us.
that to
So
national
and
anthem.
trumpet, national anthem. And so everybody's ears are up because there's
Yes,
nothing else going on at that time. Everybody's attention listening to you, and people are very critical about you because the first time band is playing, institute band, and boys are playing. So when the national anthem got over, we were very scared, and myself and brother Gautam was there next to me, and we both were not able to even look up because we thought that we are done. It's like a big mistake we have committed, and what can. But when we looked up, we had a nudge from another brother, and he said, "Look up, Swami's smiling." So that, and when you look up, and Bhagwan was giving a big smile, and he did thumbs up to us while going out.
wow.
We were like shocked, what happened here? So it's like a shocker at that moment. And when Bhagwan left, and everybody, all our classmates and college boys, everybody came to congratulate you, that you have done an excellent, what playing, man. Everything was perfect, flawless. It sounded so beautiful. Only me and Gautam were able to understand the mess that we were in. So at that moment in time, we realize that literally, man, when Swami says, I'll take care, when Bhagavan says that I will take care, he does take care. And it's not only when he tells you. In fact, we have to realize that every time only he does. And we are unnecessarily taking credit of things we think we have done. But that was a glaring lesson for all of us that was, it is he who does everything. You just continue doing your bit and leave the rest. It's a fact of life. So now when I'm listening to this story, Vibhishan coming and praising Ram is because only Vibhishan has that outlook to understand that even though the praise is going to the, Hanuman, which is like a band boys, but actually the playing was done by Ram, our side.
Beautiful.
So we only could humbly bow down to Bhagavan and say, Swami, thank you. You have done it. But unfortunately, we could not even speak about it. We could not say it because it was lost in the whole noise of success. And Bhagwan does not care for applauds and congratulations. But imagine how much we miss out by taking the credit to ourselves. If only we have that humility and the openness to understand and acknowledge Lord each time, I guess many problems would not even arise. Isn't that?
Fantastic. Beautiful, brother. Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
sure in the play also you would have experienced million things like that when you think that you are ready and all that. When you go there, everything is different.
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, that just reminds me of one very funny uh, episode where one of our those corridor day plays. So Swami would give opportunity. Swami would give us opportunity every day. It was at one point it was morning and afternoon. So we kind of felt that that we should give opportunity to all our classmates, but we were not really sure, or rather we were not very experienced that time to know that everybody is actually not capable of standing and speaking in front of a crowd. So but in that excitement, in that childish immaturity, whoever was asked, like, no, we could pick up. And so one of the brothers came forward to do one particular role. It was the role of Dattatreya. Says Dattatreya, his the role is the story of the very famous story. We kind of made a small tweak to it, where we said the king comes from the opposite direction, and the sage is walking, and as the king across the sage, the king falls on the ground, and the sage has to bless him, saying a very important dialogue. He has to bless the sage, very important dialogue, because that dialogue is important, because I was Yama in that scene. So I am explaining the Jiva about the greatness of humility. That dialogue forms the basis for my next scene. In fact, the entire drama. It's like the connecting. Only that point we realized how crucial was the dialogue. Only when it happened we realized how otherwise, in the scheme of things, we thought it is good, going well. So the stage was set. Swami was sitting, and the hall was full. Swami was very eagerly looking as to what would happen, and now the Dattatreya is coming from the other side. From this side, the king is coming. King saw Dattatreya, and king fell flat on the ground, held Dattatreya's feet, and our boy, that's for the so till then Dattatreya was closing his eyes. Only then he opens. When the king touches his legs, he opens his eyes. When our brother opened his eyes and he looked around, he realized that the hall is full. So he's filled with stage fright. He just froze, frozen. Here was the king was lying on the ground holding his friend, and he's telling he's waited for 1 second, 2 seconds. Now dialogue should have flown by then. 3 seconds over 4 seconds, nothing is happening. Now he's pulling the ropes and saying, tell ya. He's pulling the ropes and reminding Sage to tell the dialogue. But our Sage was so filled with stage fright. Till then, Swami was looking appreciative later, and then Swami also apparent physically. He realized that this boy is getting scared, so he wanted to ease up. So he started looking away from him, looking here, there. But our man was filled with fright. He just froze. He's looking at me, and I know the dialogue, but I can't tell because I'm Yama. The entire thing goes for a toss. I just I was looking at him. I was kind of expecting him to narrate, at least tell something. So the king was pulling his robe and tell something, because only then he can get up. The king, how long will the king lie down in front of Swami? So this brother just looked like that and said, "Suru, Suru, Suru," and sat down 3 times. Suru, Suru, Suru. So now, what does Suru mean? I have to. It's a Upanishadic phrase which I have to explain to the character. What would I say? I just looked at the boy sitting down. I looked at the Jiva who is standing in front of me. The king got up, did namaskar, and king also sat down. King, king was supposed to narrate his dialogue saying that what a great Upanishadic verse, something like that. King sat down. Now everything is left to me. I just held the mic and said, that was the great Upanishadic saying. And I continued. So now, luckily, it went off, but fortunately, unfortunately, our vice chancellor sir was also observing very closely this entire plot. So he was very quizzical. He wanted to understand what this Upanishadic phrase was. Such a brief suru means, what does it mean? So, and this boy was filled with guilt. The drama got over. Swami was Swami realized that it was quite obvious to the Lord that we messed it up. But if the VC, if the authorities get to know that we kind of jumbled it up, he would not get another opportunity. The boy would never get in his life.
Never,
So
never.
Swami has to play so many roles. He has to appreciate us. He has to protect us. So if all of us were called for photograph, and we approached Swami. I went near Swami. I said, Swami, Chandi Swami. Went near Swami and told him, Swami, sorry, so. Swami looked like this. Swami just closed his eyes, saying that it's okay. I kind of got sense, and I was coming back, and our vice chancellor sir and Swami said, very nice, very nice. చాలా బాగుంది. Swami was saying, vice chancellor who in between he just looked at vice chancellor and said, is it not kind of that kind of very nice, Katha, like
Acknowledgement.
that acknowledgement. And as the vice chancellor was about to say, this boy just jetted in himself saying, sorry Swami, Swami, I'm sorry Swami. Till then, now it became quite confusing as to if it is really nice, why is this boy apologizing? Then if this boy is apologizing, there's something not right. So our sir looked like that and said, "But Swami, everything is nice." He's still physically looking at the boy and says, "What does this suru mean?" He's very no devotional. Devoted is asking, "What does this suru mean?" Swami ignored him once. Swami said, "You sit, you sit." Swami sent away that boy. Swami is trying to cover it. Swami said, "Get up for photograph." No, we as youngsters are not able to understand. So again, again, this boy gets up and says, "Swami, I'm really sorry, Swami. I will not do it. Same next, please give me." Other side, Vice Chancellor look at him, and now Vice Chancellor asks, he asks, like he's very devotedly asking, Swami, what does Suru mean? I have not. He's kind of very honest.
Genuinely asking. Genuinely asking.
Genuinely asking, what does it mean? So Swami is up. Second time, Swami acted as if he did not hear. He's acting as if he's asking everyone to come for the photograph. So now it was quite obvious that to the vice chancellor, at least that Swami did not hear. Now, because of that being genuine seeker, he wanted to appreciate us. So he really wanted to understand the meaning of the word Suru. So he now this time he called me specifically and asked, said, "Hey boy, what is the meaning of Suru?" Now and it so loud that I looked and Swami also looked at him. Now there is no way that any of us can escape. I thought it's gone. I just folded my hands and I was frozen with fear. Fear. I just looked at Swami like this. That that divine, that God, that moment. Till then he was acting as if he's escaping. He's not having any answer. Just like that, just like that. He looked at Vice and said, Su means manchi, Ru means rutamu. Su means manchi, Ru means rutamu. So, oh, Swami, whoa, what a great in two languages. And said, that is a greatness. Swami looked at him and said, next time, if you, as he went near, he said, next time, if you muff it up, I will slap you. He said, Swami, sorry, Swami. But the Lord.
Hey, translate that for everybody. Manchi means good. Manchi means good. So
Su
Su
means
is good,
good, means
auspicious.
auspicious. Rutamu is the eternal, the
Rutam
truth.
is truth. Truth, the objective truth. It is
Yes.
basically a relative absolute truth is called Ritam. So absolute auspicious truth is Rita. Suru. Suru. But what was he actually supposed to say? Do you remember
Yes.
that?
No, he is about to say a Upanishadic verse of it's in Brahmanda Upanishad. I think Chidyante Hrudaya Granthi Vidyate Chidyante Sarva Samshaya Vidyante Hrudaya Granthi, something of that sort.
So he had to say the full verse?
Two lines verse.
Oh my God. Instead of two lines, he just said one word.
Our entire drama was built on the dialogue. Imagine so how how long it would have been. We were supposed to take one line and then one scene comes, second line, second scene comes. Now that everything just vanished. Swami, such a beautiful.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, let's complete the story part here. And then, okay, now Hanuman is back in this, everybody's happy, rejoicing. And obviously, this news reaches Lanka. And when the news reaches Lanka, Ravan is shattered. He did not expect even, apparently that even AhiRavan could be defeated like that. So he's literally shattered and he's depressed at that moment. And it is at that point of time very interesting. See, positive and negative, good and bad simultaneously go together. So you have Ahiravan, dead, and Ravan is in depression. There comes a wise man, Sindhurantha. Sindhurantha actually comes and advises Ravan, and he tells him that Ravan, this is wrong, and he advises him. He tries to give him good counsel, and that counsel actually hurts Ravan more. It's like as if accepting the defeat that I have made a mistake. And Sindhuratna leaves. Once he finishes that, imagine there is a fuel council and Ravan is depressed more. And look at the tragedy. It is at that time another minister in the court suggests Ravan that Ravan, don't be despondent, don't give up. You still have Narantaka, another son of Ravan. And that is another, I find it very ironical, and I don't know how to explain that. That whenever we get good advice, there is also people or situations to pull you down and not let you remain in that advice. So the advice came through this wise man, and Ravan was, before he could contemplate and revive from there, another minister immediately suggested that, Ravan, why are you despondent? Because you were saying that nobody is alive. You have Narantaka. He's your son. In fact, this son is also very valorous, it seems. They say he's very well. And he has over 72 crore Rakshasas army, which is almost like a 720 million people, Rakshasas. So it's a huge army he has. And Ravana gets a re-hope, a small hope again, that yes, I have something left. We can look at it as a drama, then we understand that Ravan of caliber should have understood that, and nothing could stand who is Narantaka and what is 72 crores. But as destiny would have it, and that is where the verse comes very apt, Vinashakale Viprita Buddhi. So when you are at the brink of your destruction, you will always have adverse mind. Your intellect will be always adverse to you. And he sends Narantaka for the war with all his army. And they say that Hanuman kills Narantaka and the whole army. And that ends Ravan's every other hope that anybody is alive. Raju, have you anything to share about Narantaka point?
Yeah, as you said, brother, Swami's writing is so beautiful that he puts the Sindhuranatha and then immediately another minister, one advising good, one advising bad. And always we see that even Ahiravana, when Ahiravana comes in, Ahiravana first gives good advice. It tells him three, four very beautiful things to Ravana. And Ravana ignores all that and he chooses only the last portion where he says, I will go and kidnap Rama and Lakshmana. He encourages him to do that. And we say same thing we see even here happening with Sindhuranatha and the other minister, where Narantaka is being called by using Dhumaketu. Now, if we very carefully analyze each of these opportunities, it appears as if Ramachandra is extending a hand of blessing or a friendship. In some friendship may not be rather grace, that it is actually coming, but it is coming towards Ravana, but it is that ego, or probably that greed or that fear. I do not know what exactly is the quality, but that actually kind of dark. It kind of covered his vision. It is acting like a wheel. I mean, it is so obvious if you read it carefully. How could someone not heed so many advices? Advice after advice has actually fallen only on deaf ears.
That's why they say, no, Vinashakale Viprit Buddhi.
Absolutely, brother. And he goes and he calls Narantaka to Drumaketu, and it again comes to Hanuman. And Hanuman, Swami writes, He came close to Narantaka and pounded his breast heavily. He lifted Narantaka aloft and turning him around fast, threw him deep into another region named Rasatala. Millions of his demon followers were thrown into the sea. He broke the chariots in Narantaka's army to smithereens. The chariots were also decimated. Such a inglorious ending to his even the last remaining son. It's gone.
Son of
Everything is it's wiped out.
Interestingly, Ravan now is left alone, and I would say we can just touch upon that part and leave it for the next episode because Ravan's war is very interesting, and I think there's a lot to learn in this portion in the final war of Ravan and how Bhagwan Ram extends the war for days because he had few days left to reach Ayodhya. So, and how Bhagwan has narrated it. So we'll look at that from the beginning. So Ravan, they explain, and Bhagwan also very beautifully explains that when Ravan enters the next day to war, he makes it like a show. It's not an ordinary like person coming for war. He's got like band and noise and paraphernalia around him, which which kind of depicts the caliber, the status of Ravan coming for war. And Bhagwan writes that he comes with a full pomp and glory. But when he sends his army like that, obviously the Vanaras are now fully charged up. They have been victorious. They know that victory is not too far, and they attack. In fact, they attack so ferociously that it seems all the Rakshasa army starts to flee from the battleground. Ravan looks at that and he gets ferocious, he gets angry. And in fact, he stops his own army from fleeing and he commands them that if anybody returns back, I will kill myself. So imagine now you have one end Ravan standing and saying, I'll kill you if you come back, go and fight. And in other end, you have Vanaras with fully motivated who are there to charge and kill. So imagine the leadership technique also is different here. So there Ram has rejuvenated all of them, motivated all of them. They are fully positive and they're running. And here Ravan is telling, if you leave, I'm going to kill you. And then they come back. But at that time, Lakshman enters the battle. And they say Lakshman did a phenomenal fight in which he kills most of their army. In fact, he destroys all the arrows and missiles shot by Ravan. He kills his charioteer and he breaks his chariot. And that attack was so ferocious on Ravan. It's the same Ravan who harmed Lakshman before. It is the same style, but Ravan falls and he loses consciousness for a while due to the attack by Lakshman. So imagine the ferocity with which Lakshman has fought back in that time. So it is like saying that, hey, buddy, don't poke me too much. If I come to I can destroy. But Ravan comes back with Brahmastra, and that is where we'll close this portion. I want to stop and ask you. Ravan responds with Brahmastra. He shoots Brahmastra at Lakshman. Now, I feel when we read this, we realize that Lakshman has been attacked by Brahmastra a couple of times. And each time, Lakshman has a different response. At first, Brahmastra, he in fact was about to die. And it was saved by Hanuman bringing Sanjeevani. And then, now we see another joke. Ravana hits him with Brahmastra. And what Bhagavan writes is that Lakshman rolls on the ground. And Hanuman comes to his rescue. He supports him. And then Hanuman goes and attacks Ravan. And now here, Hanuman seeing that Brother Lakshman has been hurt, he hits Ravan with such a heavy blow that Ravan is stunned and he loses his consciousness. So there Brahmastra makes Lakshman roll and he loses his consciousness for a while. And here Hanuman comes and he hits Ravan such a blow that he stuns him and he loses his consciousness. Raju, so look at
Yes,
the
brother.
war scenario now. It's the final. We have reached the peak of now war. Now we are actually culminating it. And here comes Ravan.
But what a powerful way of uh, telling us the story. Swami is such a uh, means God himself is the writer. I don't know what adjective to use. He's driving home such an important point. Like if we contemplate, it was the same Lakshmana as you said, who became unconscious, who was almost about to die. Now here Swami says he rolls and later, minutes later, he recovers and he's back. Now if we take, I think the two Lakshmanas are very different Lakshmanas. The Lakshmana that was shot earlier was by Vibhishana, sorry, by Indrajit, who became unconscious and he was almost about to die, who was like, lying unconscious till the next morning in the last phases of his breath. And Hanuman had to go all the way up there and get the Sanjeevani. Now here, this man just rolls up and he's back again. I think the difference is why are they? I mean, why are they different? Why is it that that Lakshmana rolled on the ground? Why is this Lakshmana rolled on the ground and got up? Or while the other hand, why that Lakshmana almost entered the annals of death and again just came back? Why is it? It is because I think there Swami very clearly writes there Lakshmana fights for a moment. It's just a moment. He loses the same Lakshmana who was crying when Rama said, "You build the hut wherever you want." He was so upset that how can you say I have my like and dislike, and he rolled on the ground and cried. For a moment, he fought. He fought for the glory of the war. He was so lost in the emotions that he fought with Indrajit without Rama in his thought, and there comes the blow. That moment, the Brahmastra hits and Lakshmana becomes unconscious. We had kind of discussed this earlier, but now after that, it's the same Lakshmana who gets up and uses that powerful Jay mantra, and then who shoots Indrajit, and he overpowers Indrajit. And I'm sure Lakshmana has learned the lesson. I mean, he's a Amshavatar himself, but just that in a human frame, he has kind of understood who is actually the real doer. Now this time, the same Lakshmana is hit by a, probably lot more potent. I mean, yeah, maybe Brahmastras might be same, but the one who released is actually the father of the one who released it earlier. If it is Indrajit, Ravana is 10 times powerful than Indrajit. Despite that, Lakshmana is just normal. I mean, what a way in which Swami is conveying. And it is that same Ravana who gets hit by Hanuman. And Hanuman, as Swami says, Ravana was stunned by the impact. He said within himself, "May this fellow's fist be burned to ashes. I never dreamed that a monkey's fist could discharge such a thunderbolt." What a what a poetic way of telling us that what is the power of Rama's Nama. It is that Hanuman's blow fell on that body, which had played that veena for Shiva, which had done so many feats for gods. And despite that, when a mere fist of a monkey, I mean, what is in a physiological point of view, if you take, what is Hanuman compared to Ravana? But the Ramanama is making all the difference. It is reviving Lakshmana, it is making Hanuman a superhero. And here is Ravana who is rolling on the ground in a shock.
I feel, this last part of the war has its own impact. And I think as we go forward and we look at the way he fights and the way now Ram counters him, and that itself will tell us the whole drama, how it unfolds and how it culminates. I find the whole equation of Ram and Ravan, which is very symbolic by every nature, and the awareness of Ravan on a physical plane is now coming out. because so far he was also playing the part and he was clouded by that wish for destruction. But now is a time when Ravan also starts to acknowledge, and that is the final blow. So I think we'll look at it as we go into the next episode, because I we will give it a proper time for Ram Ravan war. But this is a time now every other warrior is backing off. Bhagwan Ram instructs everybody to back off. Now watch. So that is a statement I would like to start off by next episode, because there we see the whole drama culminating, how Bhagwan Ram is acting, and there are different aspects of this war. That to kill Ravan, even though it was a formality, as we have seen, even though we have understood that it is Mother Sita's grace and sacrifice that has led to this situation, but still, for Ravan's culmination, there is a lot more which has gone into it. And there are secret things which have been to do, which highlights the importance of the whole process, which highlights the stature of Ravan and what Ram had to do. So I think, brother Raju, we will look at it next episode,
Yes.
so we can
Yes, brother.
culminate here, right? We'll culminate
Yes.
here. And viewers, thank you very much for being with us. If you have today, I don't see any questions from you all. Everybody has only acknowledged, and yeah, I don't see any questions. So no thoughts have come from you. So you're very welcome to share your views and thoughts, and we will hopefully, you know, continue with this journey and look at this amazing war of Ram and Ravan. Thank you and Sai Ram. Okay, Raju, Sai Ram here.